Welcome everybody back to another Dragon Ball Super video. Today we're going to be going over the Trunks Mai deck that's coming out in set 23. This deck looks very cool. It's a very, very interesting deck. A lot of different mechanics in this deck, and at first, as this deck was being revealed, it seemed very, it just seemed very mid. It seemed like a very bad version of what the Gobros deck is trying to do now. I do think that deck is a little bit more generically good, but this deck is actually much better than what I originally gave it credit for when I was looking at it. So we're going to go over the archetype as always, and then go over a brief deck profile at the end of the video. I do believe what I will do is, and this is just if people want to possibly see this, I'm going to ask you guys in the comments here. If you guys want to see some form of gameplay, like walkthrough of any of these decks, please comment on that video and let me know that you want to see that. If you guys don't want to see it, I'm not going to make the videos. But if you guys are interested in seeing those, please leave a comment down below. If any of these videos, I guess, hit like 50 likes, we'll start with like 50 likes. I'll do a gameplay for the videos anyways, but if you guys want to comment down below just to kind of expedite that process, please let me know. I'll make a video going over, kind of walking through on Untap, mulligans, how to play the deck, and then it also kind of helps me kind of learn the deck as well, because I've played these decks a few times before I make the videos, just to get some understanding of the deck, but definitely doing a video so you guys can see those. I know people do really enjoy watching like deck walkthrough videos. So Trunks Mai, this is another green deck, another Saiyan green deck, but also as an Earthling. You'll see Mai kind of everywhere on this video. I felt like it was probably just better to have Mai on there because this is the first leader I think that she's been on, so give her a little bit of shine. Activate main, discard one Earthling or Saiyan card from your hand, and then play up to one future Mai card at a cost of 1 from your deck, then shuffle. So this is really cool. So you discard a card to then play a Mai from the deck. Thankfully, both of the Mais are cantrips, so you're not like losing any value. You're just kind of going net neutral, which is meh. Like, you know, it could be a little bit better, but the deck definitely gets better on the front side. So the awaken condition is at 4 life or less, or if you have 3 or more tokens in play, you draw 1 and restand an energy and go down to 6. So this is interesting. So you actually are able to, this is the first leader we've seen, what, in 2 sets that has the ability to restand an energy when it awakens. So we've had the draw 2 awaken conditions for a whole set now. So this is the first one back, or kind of going back to just the hybrid awaken leaders. Now on the front side, or the back side, Saviors of Hope, Super Saiyan Trunks and Mai. Permanent, if you have a green Saiyan card in play, all of your Earthling tokens gain barrier. So this is interesting. So this is one of my, this was, I would think, one of the downsides to playing a token deck, because this deck is going to definitely revolve around Earthling tokens, is the removal. Man, being able to just like, hypothetically, like if you were to play into a green matchup and you were playing this deck and this deck didn't have that permanent, and you swing in and they dormant, well, they can just kill all of your tokens, right? So they're removing a lot of the resources on board that you've been trying to desperately build up. So having barrier is definitely good. Auto, when this card attacks, play up to 1 green Mai card within a cost of 1 from your deck or your drop, and shuffle your deck if you look through it. Additionally, if you and your opponent have a total of 10 battle cards or more, this card gains 10k power for the turn. So your leader becomes a 25k, just beefy swing, being able to play stuff from the drop area. These are all very good effects that allow us to kind of recur stuff going forward through the game. So just a few tips, get a few little points here we're going to go over, right? Token strat, this is a token strat done correctly. And really all that changed was the fact that you have barrier, right? Being able to have barrier on these tokens is going to be huge, as long as you have a green Saiyan card in play. So you just have to have one of those. Obviously, most of our deck is going to be, you know, Saiyans, so being able to give them barrier shouldn't be a problem. Drop area recycling with abusing healing pod. So obviously I haven't talked about it already. You guys can probably tell from seeing on videos on Deck Planet, or deck not videos but deck lists on Deck Planet, and there's a few videos that are out already where they've already talked about this. But Healing Pod, man, it is abused in Go Bros, and you can abuse it just as well in this deck, being able to play stuff from the drop area. Saiyan Earthling traits are always good, just in case there is your leader needs to be green, a green mono green Saiyan, or in the future when we get some better maybe Earthling support. These decks are all going to be very good. Similar thing to what blue decks are. If a blue deck has the Earthling and the Saiyan tag, it's very, very good. And then a possible 10k free combo on offense, being able to swing into 25ks, or swing into a 20k leader and already be 25k. Like, that's a huge buff for a green deck. I would say for any deck that's really good, being able to do that on a green deck is pretty nasty. So now we have the Mize. These are the 3 different Mize that come in the set. The one on the right, our Earthling Support, is a Z battle card, so that one's always going to be accessible. But all of these cards have the ability to play 1 Earthling token. So if you guys don't know what the Earthling tokens are, they are 1k power, 0 combo cost, and 0 combo power. You probably got those in the last regional. For surprising, if you guys want the actual gold stamped ones, that are really, really cool looking. So Earthling Support plays 1 just on play. No defenses or anything, just if you can play the card, it's going to play a token. Alright, and then if you have 4 more tokens when this card attacks, you get to KO a 3 or less, and this card gains 11k for the battle. So give the 15k for 1 that kills a 3 or less. It's not an awful card, but not super good. It's just kind of there. You're probably going to play it just to get the tokens, but it's not anything special. Then we have My Link of Hope. This is just a 1-drop cantrip. Protector of the People Mine. Searches top 5 for an Earthling or a Saiyan that costs 4 or less. So these both are actually draw cards, but then they also have an activate main where you tap the card and then you can play a token. So you can actually get two bits of use out of this card, right? You can play it to draw a card, and then you can also tap it to then gain an Earthling token, which allows you to do more of your strategies in the future. This card specifically, though, is why this deck is even going to be considered relevant in any way. Being able to play Earthling, this deck, this Frieza Healing Pod, in this particular Earthling Saiyan deck is insane. So when you play a green card from the drop area, you draw the card. I can see this card being hit in the future. Definitely, it might create some very strange interactions. Currently, right now, it's okay, but it's definitely something to kind of look out for. But you play both of these Mize from the drop with your leader effect. So on the front side, you can put Earthling or Saiyan cards into the drop, which there isn't a Saiyan in the deck that you want to do that to, but you can put these guys in the drop if they have them in your hand, and you play out other Mize. Right, once you get to your Waken turn, you swing with your leader, you play one of these guys from the drop area, you'll do the effect either top 5 search or draw, and then you can draw another one off Healing Pod. So you're drawing 2 or drawing 1 and searching another particular card. That's still very good, very, very good value. So just having a Healing Pod on board is going to be good. I think it's kind of seeming to be a trend with a lot of green decks, is that a lot of these green decks are playing some form of field spell that allows them to do stuff. So obviously in Gohan, you're playing Hyperbolic Time Chamber. In Go Bros, in this deck, you're playing Healing Pod. So just more draw power. Both these cards, again, being able to just recur from the drop area is huge. So you're just going to continuously just being able to draw more cards. And play tokens. So then we have the Humanity's Hope line. These are the 4 drops that come in the set. They're all 15Ks. They all have the same exact permanent, which their energy cost to play them is reduced by 1 for every Earthling token you have in play, up to 3. Because it has 1 specific green, so you have to play it for 1 green, but these are all essentially just 15k 1-drops, right? Goku, when you switch a token to rest mode, when this card attacks, you draw a card, and you take 2 markers off of a unison. That's pretty good. Very specific, so you're probably going to be playing this in like matchups that play unisons, but it's kind of an okay version of like unison removal. Vegeta draws a card and KOs a 5 cost. A little more relevant. And then Trunks draws a card and then combos an Earthling or Saiyan that costs 5 combo power, and mono green from the drop with its skills negated. So all these cards are going to draw you cards, which is nice. So you're just going to be able to just draw a ton of cards with these. However, they're just 15Ks with no other specific keyword skills. They're not like 15K crit, 15K double strike. They're just 15k attackers that are either, you have unison removal, you have a battle card removal, and you have combo power. So why these cards are not incredibly impactful is the fact that 20 is the new 15, essentially, in this game. So 20k battle cards, you're playing for 1 energy. 25k battle cards, you're playing for 1 energy. Having a 15k battle card that just pops something and draws a card is not actually enough value anymore for Masters. It's just not that relevant. There are certain matchups, again, as I said, where these cards are going to see a lot of play. So, like for Goku, you being able to play into a Unison-based strategy, you can use this to remove markers off of Unison very well. Vegeta, being able to pop stuff on board while also swinging into something else, you get good slight board removal. Not like I said, a little bit better than Goku. And then Trunks is a 20k body that also generates a Z energy. It's probably the most efficient one out of the 3. But again, they all have their own different purposes. They're all pretty good. You're probably going to play a combination of the 3 of these or just 2 of them and max them out at 4. But they are the archetype cards. They're 1-cost battle cards. They're pretty good. And also, none of them have any defense. So it's a good and a bad thing. So it's good because you want to be able to counterplay the stuff as the opponent. It's bad because it's also good because if they counterplay these, then they might not counterplay your bigger stuff in the future because they're not going to have the energy or the resources. But also, these are part of your draw engine. So you kind of need these cards to be able to function a little bit during the middle of the game. So they're, like I said, good cards. But let's see what else the archetype has. We have the Fusion in the Future combinations, which is the Goku and the Vegeta. Goku is a card that you actually can play in your main deck. Vegeta obviously being a Z battle card. So Goku is just a 1-drop, draw 1. Only when this card is played from your hand. So you can play this card from the drop area off of the Fusion Vegeta here, which says when you play a card, when you play this card, you play up to 1 of these Gokus from your deck or your drop. Then shuffle your deck if you look through it. So if you play it from your deck or your drop, if you play it from your deck, you're not drawing a card. If you play it from your drop, you might draw 1 off of Healing Pod if you have it in play. But other than that, it's actually not drawing you a card. So I think it's kind of weird. They should have just allowed you to be able to draw from it. However, the Goku 7 card's played by the skills of the Vegeta card. You choose one of your leaders and you get 5k for the turn. So you give your leader a 5k bump, making 20k, and then potentially a 30k swing if you use the other effect. For Vegeta, if your leader is a green Vegeta or Trunks Vegeta, or Trunks and a Mai, so you have 2 different leaders that this can work on. This leader and then the green Vegeta deck that came out a long time ago. I probably will make a video about that after we get all the promos. I have a weird feeling they're going to support that green Vegeta deck in some way, so I'm going to wait. Auto removes the card from the game. When your Trunks Future card with an energy cost of 8 attacks, your opponent discards 1 card from their hand. So this card's pretty cool. So you actually have the ability of having this on board and then swinging with your boss monster, which we're going to show off. And then you can make your opponent discard a card. So that's cool. Nothing else special about it. I wish this card had some deflect or barrier or something, because this is actually a very good strategy going into this deck using this particular combination of cards. But having no defense just makes it a little bit too easy to get rid of. But then we go into the Fusion Vegito, Fusion in the Future. 20k, deflect, double strike, Union Patora for free if you have 3 or more energy, and you have to fusion specifically with a green Vegeta Z battle card and a green Son Goku card. So you have to use those 2 cards I just showed you. You cannot use a Goku from the set. I'm sorry, you can't use another Goku, and you can't use... I mean, you can technically use another Goku, but you can't use a Vegeta battle card. It has to be a Z battle card. Auto, when this card's played, draw 1, choose 20 opponent's battle cards, KO it, and then this card gains barrier until the end of your opponent's next turn. So this card becomes a Saiyan with barrier. Few different benefits to this. One, being able to use this card to, since it has barrier, it's going to give all your tokens barrier for your turn. That's pretty good. Activate main for 2. If your leader is green Vegito or a green card with both Future Trunks and Future Mai, opponent has 3 more energy. Play up to 1 green Vegito card with energy cost of 7 from your hand and active mode on top of this card. So that's pretty powerful. So you can play this card out for free. Essentially, you're playing out for 1 if you play out the Vegito the same turn, and then you can tap 2 to go into the 7 cost. The 7 cost is Resisting a God. This is a 25k deflect double strike blocker. You can also just Union Patora for 3 on top of the Z battle card and a green Son Goku. So again, you are locked to using this particular combination. Auto, when this card attacks, choose 1 of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. This is once per turn. Because the activate main, if you and your opponent have a total of 10 or more battle cards, switch this card to active mode, and your opponent discards 1 card from their hand. So this is a pretty powerful effect. A little bit of a hefty cost, though, for a green deck. Like, you're paying 3 energy for this, essentially either way that you go, to swing 25k double strike and make your opponent potentially discard a card, or you can play, like, Gohan, Goku, SR, and make them kill something ignoring barrier, and swing 30k double strike, and make a discard a card. You know what I'm saying? So the effect of this card, it's pretty mid. I would say if the Unipator costed 2, right, might be a little bit better. But yeah, 3 energy just total for the entire archetype is just a little too much. If you could go into it for 1 off of the Vegito, would probably be a little bit of a better card. You're probably only ever going to establish one of these cards if you do play it in your deck, just because of how the energy cost of this card is. There's just better options for you to play in green. And then we have the boss monster, the true boss monster of the deck, Super Saiyan 2 Trunks, Path to the Future. 30k body, you can play it for 2 for leader's green, you have 3 or more energy. Play this card from your hand, and then during that turn, the next time you place a Z extra card in your battle area, reduce the energy cost by 1 green. So, a lot of different applications for this card. So for one, this card is completely generic. And being able to play out a Z extra card, obviously there's one that comes in this archetype, but there are other Z extra cards, and being able to cheat those cards out for 1 less is pretty powerful. When this card attacks, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, negate indestructible, and KO it. So this card obviously was made as a pure counter to the Zamasu deck, which we already went over, which makes sense since, you know, thematically, Trunks and Zamasu were fighting, so he's just a pure counter to those cards. Activate battle. If you have 4 or more energy and you switch 3 of your Earthling tokens to rest mode, this card gains 5k and triple strike for the turn. So this becomes a 35k triple striker that also is going to kill a card on play. That's pretty powerful. I gotta say, that's a pretty powerful effect. And it's a 5k combo, which we're starting to see more and more. As most bond sponsors now are going to be 5k combos. So just no 10k combos. Most of these decks. The Z extra card we're talking about is Final Hope / Humanity's Secret Weapon. Giant Zelda sword on this card. Costs 2 and 2 Z energy. If you remember from the Trunks, we could reduce the energy cost by 1 green when we play this card. So essentially we tap 2 for the Super Saiyan 2 Trunks. Then we tap 1 green and 2 Z energy for the Z extra card. Activate main. If your leader is green with both Trunks Future and My Future, and your opponent has 4 more energy, and you switch 3 of your Earthling tokens to rest mode, you remove this card from the game. During that turn, the next time your green Trunks with an energy cost of 8 attacks, your opponent can't activate counter. Why is this important? This allows you to, outside of battle tricks, this allows you to completely nullify your opponent's defensive strategy. Again, outside of combat tricks. There are definitely combat tricks that you can use. Black has Brainwash no more. Yellow has Final Flash. Blue has the Gohan rare. Like, there's different ways of interrupting this card in the battle step. So at first glance, you're like, holy crap, this is really good. This card gets around counterplays, but it doesn't stop like combo power. It doesn't stop these other battle tricks that almost every color has. So it's not necessarily going to be the best way to finishing games, but this card is going to finish some games. Like being able to, like, you tap your opponent out, you sequence correctly, and then boom, you pop this card, you swing with your leader, you go to 35k triple strike. You're probably going to win the game off that, realistically. So, very cool combination. Very cool combination. I think this Trunks is going to have a lot of implication in the future as more and more Z extra cards start coming into the game. This card being able to reduce them by 1 and 1 specific green, meaning that if they cost 1 energy and they have 1 specific green, they are free. So that's like mind-blowing to me that you can actually do that in this game. So, so in closing, so we have some good and some bad. Obviously, some good anti-token removal on offense with having barrier on the tokens is very powerful. Strong generic archetype monster. These are all just like check boxes you have to go to making a good meta deck, and also just a powerful draw engine with Pod. Right. Also, this deck being able to restand an energy after playing Pod is incredible. Like that's something that, like, if Go Road has the ability to restand an energy, on its Awaken turn, it might be even a little bit better than what it is right now. So it's like a turn slower because you have to waste the energy of playing the Z extra card and then playing Pod, or a combination of the two of those. I think it's very good. So some cons: no defensive skills on your opponent's turn. So like nothing has barrier, nothing has deflect really outside of the Vegito. Everything's kind of easily removed. And as a green deck, you don't really want to be establishing the same cards over and over again. You want to try to keep some stuff on board. So not having any barrier cards in the archetype is kind of troublesome. The Vegito chain, again, not having deflect on the small pieces. So like against like black, against blue, against green, basically every color but yellow. If you play this chain into it, they have the ability of just counterplaying it, right? You just Super Kamehameha, you just do Super Kamehameha, Beerus Ball, Absolute Release Ball, Focus Breakthrough, whatever. Boom, Vegeta's gone, and then you waste the Z energy, and now you can't go into that play. You have to waste another Z energy and another energy to go into Vegeta. They should have given it deflect. I mean, they know for sure it's going to hit the board. So now we'll go into the actual deck profile portion of the video and see. Okay, so we have the deck profile here in front of us. Obviously, you can kind of see some of the cards here at the bottom, so that's kind of unfortunate. That's just how the DBS thing is designed here. So we'll kind of run through some of the beginning stuff here. We have the Mize and the 4 healing pods. We want to make sure we can see healing pod turn 1, play pod on turn 1, or turn 2, and then now we have access to pod the rest of the game. There's not many cards in the game that actually can remove pod. There is one particular one that I will show off in here that actually can. I don't think green deck's cited enough because I don't think we're at the point where we're going to see pod yet. I think when this deck comes out, I think people will play this deck. I think people will probably gravitate more to Go Bros, but nevertheless, it is a card you can use. So we have 4 Trunks and 3 of the Vegetas. So this is the Humanity's Hope line we run. I don't play the Goku in the main deck. I think the Goku's okay, but again, it's only mainly for unison removal, so that's kind of like the big thing with that deck. We have Goku, Fusion in the future. We just have 2 of them, just because again we're going to be going into it for the Vegito combo here, which I use the SPR art, which is very pretty. Strong chin Vegito, very very strong chin. But 2 of those in the main deck to go with the Vegetas we're going to have in the Z deck. 3 Raditz pulling ahead. So this is another 1-drop battle card we can use. I think Raditz is getting more and more popular. When it deals damage to your opponent, you warp one of your opponent's battle cards, and then they warp a card from their hand. So this card has to be answered either by a negate or by out comboing it. So it's going to get cards out of your opponent's hand. So it's almost like a better version of the Kaioken, because it's a 20k. It's going to eat something because it's a 20k, not a 15. It becomes a little more difficult to deal with. So 3 of that guy. 3 of the new Trunks. Again, we use the SPR art because it's pretty. I think 3 is okay. It's not searchable, so you might end up going up to 4, but I think 3 is fine. We're going to draw a ton of cards in this deck, so yeah, I think 3 is fine. 3 of the Gohan and Goku SPR. This is why we bumped the Trunks down to 3 instead of using 4, so we can fit an actual copy of this in here. This card, turn 3, slamming this. Turn 4, slamming Trunks and this potentially. And then any turn after that, you have the combination of these 2 cards that you can play to just pummel your opponent. Obviously, this card is just good in every green deck you're going to play it. I don't think it needs too much more explanation. It's just a very good card. 4 Paragus Super Combo. Paragus seems like the best one. Yeah, just always being a 10k is still kind of valuable. So 4 using Awaken Rage. So this card's just like Go Bros. This card's great in this deck. Being able to pitch a Mai off of this card and then swinging with your leader and then playing the Mai back out just means you're just recycling resources. And you're never really going too neg from hand. 2 Unassaulted Clones. Secret Rare is going to be Cell Max. Now, this will probably change. I have a feeling we're going to get another green Secret Rare in this set to go with this deck. Just have a feeling. Oh no, we already got a Secret Rare. Sorry, I completely forgot that card actually existed, the Super Shinron. So this is the one you're probably gonna play then. Yeah, I completely forgot. That's how just mediocre that secret rare was. I forgot that it existed. So Cell Max then would be the secret rare I would play. You can play the Goku, the Angel Goku one as well. Doesn't seem the greatest, but you can do that one as well. Cell Max just being a one drop, I think just this card is just generically like the best green secret rare in the game. The Ape is pretty cool too. Like I said, you have some cards you can play. You can kind of play around with it. Green, the game's in a good spot right now when it comes to secret rares because every color has at least like 2 to 3 secret rares you could potentially play that are viable. So I picked Cell Max for this one. 4 Bardock Unison and 3 Frieza Charismatic. So this combination here, I added to get a little more value out of the Mize. So with Bardock, since we are a restand hybrid leader, we can actually play Bardock on our Awaken turn if we want to Awaken turn 2 or turn 3. We can slam down a Bardock, and then we can play the Mai from the drop area, draw off the Mai, draw off Healing Pod, and then we can use this to kill the Mai to make our opponent discard a card. Right? And now this card is going to stop our opponent from being able to combo 1 card per turn. We're going to be able to kill it. I think there's a lot of cool implications with this card here, right? But then also, having access to Charismatic gives us a little extra defense. So when our opponent does play something, we can use Charismatic to pop those cards. So in Go Bros, this is a very similar strategy that people do. Is they played the Demigra Unison and Freezes. They played Demigra because, well, it's a little bit harder to remove Demigra. But this deck also, I think you can play Demigra in this deck as well. Bardock, I just felt like kind of fit the deck a little bit better. It's also just a prettier card. But being able to pop the Mize, since you're never really using them for like fusion materials, you're basically going to play the Mai. You're going to draw the card off the Mai, do the card effect drawing off of Healing Pod, tap the Mai to play a token, and then pop the Mai. So like if you already have a Mai on board, what's cool is that like if you only have 1 Mai available, let's say you restand it, your opponent didn't kill it or whatever, you can tap it off of its own effect, kill it, and then play it and Bardock it. Make your opponent pitch a card, swing a leader, play the Mai back out, draw 2 cards off it. You can't use the Activate Main again because they are limit 1. So you have to get rid of, you have to play like the opposite one, but still, it's pretty cool. For the Z deck, 1's Humanity Secret Mission. I think 1's probably enough. 2 Vegeta Fusion in the future. Small engine just because it doesn't have deflect, so it's not something we want to rely on heavily. And that's also why you see I'm not playing the 7 cost in the deck, right? So like going into this card alone is just good value because it's basically a 1-drop 20k double striker that draws a card and kills something and then gains barrier. So like that's like a pretty good combination for it in itself. You don't really need the 7 cost. So like being able to spend 1 energy to go into Vegito to draw a card and swing, go into Raditz to swing, and then tapping 2 for a Goku Gohan, or going into this and a Gohan or a Trunks. Like you have a little more options. This is just takes an extra step to get to that 1-drop cost, but still it's a good card. 1 My Earthling support just because it's on theme and just get an extra token just in case you need it. 1 Limit Ultra Kamehameha Mighty Blast. So again, why this card is cool is that you can actually play this card for free off of the Trunks. So you can Trunks reduce its energy cost to 0. Still has 1 Z energy cost, and you can play it, and now you have access to this card for 0 energy. So like that's pretty powerful as well. So you can also use this card kind of early, and especially into like yellow matchups. You can use it to tap until you want to go into your Trunks play later with the Mighty Weapon, with the Humanity Secret Weapon, and now you have access to that as well. All right, last 2 cards we have Super Saiyan 3 Broly Tyrant. Kind of similar again to the Gotenks deck. So being able to play this card, you can use like you can go kind of the same play that I was talking about, where you can use the Mai. Let's say you have it on your turn, use Mai effect, tap it, play a token, use Bardock to kill it, play it back out off of your leader swing, draw 2 cards, 1 off Pod, 1 off the Mai, and then you can also sack it then off of this Broly because it doesn't have unique, and now you have a 20k body on board. You can pop another card to give it double strike. Like you have so many cool little things you can do with it. So now for some cards, you can see here, these are some cards that I kind of laid out that I felt like had some interesting synergy with this deck potentially. Obviously Zamasu, this is a card, since we're playing Charismatic Villain, this is an easy 5 cost swap for 1 energy to go into Zamasu. Now remember, Zamasu going into green decks is going to be a little bit more difficult to use because this card is just going to get rid of everything that is indestructible. So Zamasu is probably not the greatest to play in the green matchups, but other matchups it's pretty fair. We have Great Ape Vegeta, Last Ditch Transformation. You need a field spell to play it. So we do play Pod. So we can play this card if we really want to. It's a 19k crit, also has blocker. Also is a Saiyan, so it's searchable. Cooler Effortless Strike. This card's getting more value now, and I really like it. So for every extra card in your battle area and drop, this card gets reduced by 1. So if you have Healing Pod and you have a Z extra card, that's 2, so now it costs 2. Now you just need another extra card in the drop, so that's like Uneasing, Homicidal Clones, something like that. Now the card costs 1. Kind of plays 4 or less on your opponent's turn, and then also makes your opponent ditch a card if they have more than 8 cards in hand. So this card's very valuable. It's getting a lot more playability now. Probably should buy it before the card gets bought out. I feel like this card's probably going to get bought out before Nats. Is my guess. I think green's going to be very popular at Nats this year for NA, and I think this card is going to be a very big side deck card for a lot of these decks. Pretty Black Hole. This is a tech myself and Kenny have used quite a bit. So you negate the attack, you may choose one of your battle cards and negate the card's skills, place it in the owner's drop, and if you do, you draw a card, and you choose any number of non-token battle cards that energy cost less than or equal to the total cost of the card you place in the drop, and you KO them. So a lot of text for basically saying you negate an attack, you draw the card, you choose one of your cards, you kill it, and then you look at the card's energy cost, and then you kill that energy worth of cards. So if your opponent plays an 8 cost, they swing with it. You use Pretty Black Hole, you kill one of your own 8 costs, and then you can kill their 8 cost. Or if you kill an 8 cost and they have 2 4 costs on board, you can kill both of those. It's got some math to it. So like I know like blue players, you guys don't really do math that much. Like it's not a big skill for you blue players, so like you guys probably wouldn't understand that. But being able to use this card to kind of wipe boards, it's pretty cool. Is it incredibly effective? No. I think Jared Lopez played it in the 21 deck that he pilots, the expert deck one, so he utilizes it a little bit, but it's just a cool little tech card, just an option for you to potentially use. Then we have the Chi-Chi and Goku joined by Destiny. Very cool combination. I like this combination. I think it's very good. It's another form of Fated Rivals, which I did not even put in here. I think Fated Rivals could go in here as well too, so like that's another option as well. But Chi-Chi and so we like Chi-Chi because Chi-Chi is an Earthling, and I believe this card searches out 4-drop Earthlings. So you can search out Chi-Chi, you can search out at least the Chi-Chi, you can't search out Goku, but being able to grab the Chi-Chi, that's still another searchable card you can use. Okay? Then we have these 2 cards here. We have Vegeta protecting his loved ones and Son Goku long-awaited rematch. So these are both 1-drop battle cards with barrier, which I find very, very interesting. So having these guys just sit on board after you've awoken means that as long as you have a barrier card on board, as long as you have one of those Saiyans, they stick on board, all your tokens will always have barrier. So like if you're playing against decks like red, decks that have the ability of just like popping cards randomly on board, like good board removal that might not have good barrier removal for 1 energy, maybe 2, you can place one of these guys on board, and now you have the ability of protecting your tokens. And again, remember, tokens don't have barrier on your opponent's turn, so they're probably just going to get removed then. But at least if you can utilize them on your turn, you want to keep them up, not in rusted mode. Make sure that they don't die, so then you can use their effects to tap down for these guys, or use for your Trunks effect and go in for your triple strike. And then I put the Vegeta resisting a god in the side. Again, just another card you can play. I think it's pretty average for what you can do in green now. Green has so many double strike plays that are just better suited rather than spending 3 energy on a card that might swing twice and might rip a card out of your opponent's hand. Why don't I just play this card for 2 energy, right? Or I can play this card and the Goku Gohan for 3 energy total, right? Like there's a lot better plays you can do. So keep an eye on this deck. I think this deck is going to be very, very interesting. It might not be played at Nats. I don't think this is going to be a Nats deck. I think Gobros and Gohan will be the 2 decks you will see a lot of green. You might see some other like weird green stuff in there, but we'll talk about that in a different video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Again, if you guys want to see a gameplay walkthrough of this deck, I will put one out. Just need to get 50 likes. Or just let me know down in the comments if you guys want to see that. I will then put it on the list of videos for us to do. So overall, Very interesting deck. I personally would rather play Zamasu. I just think this is probably a better deck than Zamasu. Just overall on the scale of competitive Dragon Ball, I think this deck's probably a little bit better than that. But I guess we'll see when the set actually comes out. So let me know down below what you guys think of this deck and of the set so far. If you guys have a favorite card or leader, let me know down below in the comments. And I will see you guys in the next video.